Panthers are going to blow this, Roy.
No, they are not.
They're going to blow this.
They're
no longer the 1 seed.
They're not gonna.
Lost 3 in a row.
1 seed probably. I don't know.
Lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Tampa's right there, back like 1 point back now.
And Kucherov is back too. I mean, I saw that.
Oh, he's been back.
He's been back.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I just started watching.
They seem like they're a step slow. Granted, we're about 6 games in from the 15-day layoff, but they seem a step slow. They're not in position.
Maple Leafs are good. I'm worried about the Maple Leafs, man.
I'm not worried about the Maple Leafs. Get out of here.
3 in a row. Ooh, bad.
Well, it's 3 in a row at home. It's 3 of 5 at home, right? They have 2 left at home, and then they go on this incredible 2-week journey, this road trip, which is like, I mean, I don't understand it. But Roy, I'm with Mike. It kind of feels like it's slipping away.
I don't think so. And Mike bringing up Toronto, like, you know the history of the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, they always disappoint, but their defense is good. And
they have Austin Matthews.
Considering how Florida just lost at Edmonton, which is the exact way that they won against Edmonton before, which was just they had no business winning when you look at the shot totals. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about Bob, man. Bad Bob again.
Yeah, we've had bad Bob recently, but
you cowards, you don't believe in this team correctly. I say this as a man who has walked back his beef with Philadelphia because he got scared after 2 games from the Philadelphia 76ers. But you guys are cowards. You're haunted by 30 years of this team suffering, making you suffer. You had the most exciting team in the league.
Right.
And the best team in the league a week ago.
Yeah.
A week ago. And now listen to you, whimpering.
No, man. I still believe in this team. Hockey Reference had this team at 15% to win the cup. That was the highest of everybody in the league. Wow. So I'm still.
Where's it at now?
Probably lower. But yeah, I still believe in this team. So
you sound
will
shaky.
Not get me off this
you
position.
sound shaky. Mike sounds shaky. Bad Bob. He's talking about Bad Bob. He's got like Tourette's, hockey Tourette's. Bad Bob. Bad Bob. Bad Bob. Bad Bob. Like that's we will be lobotomized by Bad Bob.
What we're looking at here is Dan. The Panthers are at 75 points. The Lightning, the Penguins, the Leafs, and the Rangers are at 71 or above.
And now
this could fall apart very, very quickly for the Panthers.
We're looking up at the Hurricanes now. This is a tisk. That's what I have to say about the most recent
Bad
week.
Bob is
totally
the Achilles heel is Bad Bob. You don't trust Bad Bob. You're scared of Bad Bob.
Well, and other teams can get the hot goaltender. It doesn't seem like the Panthers are going to. So you're vulnerable to the hot goaltender, I think, because, on Saturday against Edmonton, they were creating tons of chances. Like, there were moments in that game where it's like, they could be 6 or 7-1 up. But on a night in which the puck doesn't go in, because it does that sometimes, you don't have the goaltending to back you up. And that's a vulnerable place to be in the playoffs. I just don't think that without a top-level goaltender, or at least the potential to get top-level goaltending, that you really have a chance in the NHL playoffs for 4 rounds.
Do not ruin this for me before we've even gotten there, because you've got your post-traumatic stress disorder. They lose 3 games, and you lose all confidence, and you want to fight Randy Moeller in the street.
Well, the problem is the Panthers don't even have a suitable backup goaltender. Spencer Knight's stuck in the minors because they can't. The roster expansion is going to be later in the year after the trade deadline. Unfortunately, they can't bring him up because the roster's full. So it's kind of a bad situation for the goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
The backup they played on Thursday was appalling. He was so bad.
Yeah, too good.
When they
the
put
first
in the
and second
claim-
period was pretty good.
When they
third period was
when they
bad.
put in the claim for him, all the fans of was he in Arizona before? Everybody was just like, "Whoa, this guy's terrible. What are they doing?"
And like they pulled the goalie with 8.5 minutes to go because it was like, why not? It could it be worse? Let's get another skater on. They pulled the goalie faster than I've ever seen, and actually they got into the game. And at 5-3, it's like, oh, they might have a chance here. And they just pulled them again, and then the opponent promptly scored. But it was like, you would rather not have a goalie than have whoever that guy was in goal.
that is some serious,
an empty net.
That is a serious disdain. Not just the empty net. The fact that you started a sentence with the backup is appalling. It's such a cruel word to slap across an incompetent's face.
Roy, who the hell is this Oilers goalie? Because he was the best player on the ice, and Connor McDavid was on that very same ice. That guy was incredible.
You just heard Whittingham say that the Panthers should have been up 7-1.
They dominated that game. Dominated.
Let me move to another local story. God bless the Dolphins. They continue to provide us with national content the moment we leave ESPN. We were trying to do a national radio show on ESPN, desperate and dying to talk about the Dolphins, and they gave us a precious few chances except for maybe Richie Incognito. Can you get that song for me, Mike? I know I play it a lot, but it makes me happy, that song, and I want to play the Richie Incognito song again. But PFT, Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. The Miami Dolphins are moving forward with Mike McDaniel as the head coach and for now Tua Tagovailoa as the starting quarterback. At one point after the end of the 2021 season, however, the Dolphins explored a different approach. Per multiple sources, and as first revealed on Monday's PFT Live, the Dolphins plan to pursue Sean Payton to be the coach and Tom Brady to be the starting quarterback. The plan was scrapped after Brian Flores filed his lawsuit against the NFL generally and the Dolphins, Giants, and Broncos specifically. On the record, Dolphins declined comment. Team sources who requested anonymity due to the sensitivity of the issues confirmed that the team contacted the Saints to seek permission to speak to Payton. The Saints, per Dolphin sources, declined the request, which they contend was made after Payton resigned on Tuesday, January 25th, but before Flores filed his lawsuit 1 week later. By rule, the Dolphins first would have had to reach an agreement with the Saints as to potential compensation for hiring Payton. Once an agreement had been reached, the Dolphins would have had to work out an agreement directly with Payton. As to Brady, Dolphin sources contend that internal discussions occurred regarding the possibility of adding Brady as a minority owner, but those considerations currently are on hold. The delay, per Dolphin sources, has nothing to do with the lawsuit. It's more about the uncertain status of Brady's retirement from playing. Once it's clear he's not coming back to play for the Buccaneers or some other team, the plan for selling a piece of the team to Brady could proceed. Rumors have persisted for 2 years regarding Brady's potential involvement with the Dolphins, either as player or partial owner. The connection arises from Brady's friendship with Bruce Beal, a significant limited partner who is poised to eventually purchase the team from Stephen Ross. Indeed, as Brady approached free agency in 2020, the Patriots were very concerned that Brady would join the Dolphins as a player with partial ownership on the table.
It leads you to believe that, and some of the accusations Flores made in his lawsuit, that there's a fair amount of back channeling with Tom Brady, especially the timing on this one, because Brady announced his retirement formally after days of speculation before Brian Flores filed his lawsuit. So the timing is a little suspicious for all of this to make sense.
It's still interesting. Why are you making a sour face, Jessica? Is it because you ate and drank too much yesterday at the Food and Wine Festival?
I mean, that's part of it, but like, just retire, dude. Like, he wrote this like 8-slide long Instagram post and told us all he was retiring. Like, Florio's saying basically my takeaway from this is that few people believe he might retire. He might come back next season. Just leave.
Ian O'Connor is predicting that he will take a year off and try to come back. Ian O'Connor is saying that, and Ian O'Connor is a credible journalist. He's not a hot take guy.
He's very good.
That he talked to Brady and that Brady made it clear that he wants to play until he's 46, 47, and that it wasn't that long ago. He expects Brady to leave for a year and then come back.
I know how this is all going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
How's that, Billy? I'll tell you after it happens.
Very good. That's what makes you the 6th best insider in the NFL internationally.
He likes to be armed with the information, Dan.
Did they make a new list? Did the British newspaper make a new list?
No, and that reminds me, I need to get that guy on Stupidity so we can kind of be fresh in his memory.
So you can move up.
Get a little bump? Yeah.
My favorite is the last line that says, until the Dolphins acquire a new quarterback, their top option will continue to be Tagovailoa. Like, okay, until I eat lunch, my last meal will have been breakfast. Like, that is just meaningless.
Who's stomping round the Dolphin facility, toughening up everybody he sees? Who's cracking skulls and stealing from rookies? Everyone knows it's Richie. Who's eating nails and poisonous cobras, intimidating guys on his team? Who stole my wife and broke my new glasses? Everyone knows it's Richie. And Richie has monstrous thighs. Be careful, he'll gouge your eyes. Screams racial slurs at black guys, but out of love. But out of love.
Beautiful Jessica, I'm very disappointed in you. The musical is coming out soon. I don't know, Mike Ryan. You're getting accused from every angle here of why isn't it out already? People demand right now.
Oh, because 2.5 weeks is more than enough time to make a musical?
I thought, though, that Jessica was going to come in here because she was such a big hit. Her singing voice. Billy as well. Billy, just a beautiful singing voice. All of us are involved, but there are places where the voices surprise me, where part of the joy of this is going to be who's singing here and choruses and everywhere else, because I saw Ron McGill was wandering around here.
Nice.
And there are a lot of singers. Mike, you've used everybody, correct? You've used everybody who works here. I saw Frankie over there, our security guy, doing something.
There's an embargo on this. You're like Tom Holland out there.
You released 2 songs.
There's an
What's
NDA.
the embargo about?
NDA. Don't ruin the surprises, my man.
But I'm disappointed, Jessica, because I thought you were going to come in here today as a pop star. I thought you were. I think it's because you got sloppy yesterday, and I thought you were going to come in here with a fur and a hat, and you were going to be. I've made it now. I'm going to be a TikTok pop star.
That was my plan. I was going to come in like Ariana Grande with a high pony and a fur and my sunglasses on, oversized sunglasses. And then I got drunk at the Food and Wine Festival.
The musical's going to drop March 3rd this week.
Really?
So, yeah.
MRE?
It'll be on our podcast feed, and then a formal release will happen after that. I am blown away by the feedback. Everyone really likes it. The one criticism people have, I didn't know we had this many music purists out there, but the objection to Autotune I find funny.
Well, I needed it.
Well,
Yeah.
all of us needed it except for maybe Jessica and Roy.
And Frankie.
Also, people assume that Jess was the most auto-tuning, and I will say, Jess has the best voice out of all of us. Barely auto-tuned Jess.
I don't think I was auto-tuned at all. I think people just wanted to say that because my voice sounds poppy.
But you're saying, am I a singer now? You're saying because you feel like you've got a new career track in front of you, but you're getting too drunk at the Food and Wine Festival to pursue it.
Well, I'm saying that you should only be able to address me now through my people. So you can call my people, and then they'll ask me, and then I'll get back to them, and then they can tell you what my response is to that.
What does a formal release mean? Like, if we're putting it out as a podcast, then how else is it being released?
So it's going to be released as an album. Glad you asked.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll be made available through major streaming platforms. And we'll put it in a genre that it has an opportunity to chart.
Are you making money off of this?
I would love to have a chart-topping single.
Stugotz is here. Here's Stugotz arrived.
Just wondering.
Where are the royalties? What do I get immediately? As soon as Mike bursts an idea, here comes old Hot Breath. And what do I get?
I mean, I sang my heart out, Dan, for this musical. I really did. I mean,
you have no heart. If you
You're
did,
right.
It would be black.
I sang it out.
No, you sang your lungs out, as in your lung actually came out of your mouth, and it's in the other studio.
You were the worst of the singers.
Thank you.
No.
Really?
Stugotz killed his song.
Yes!
I've listened to the final mastered version of Stugotz's
Boom!
brilliant song. I love it.
Royalties?
No.
Who was the worst of the singers?
Who was the worst of the singers? I'm not going to do that to folks. It's
Do
just,
it.
No.
Why?
I will say Jess was the best of the singers.
Thank you. But who was the worst?
Doesn't matter. Everyone's got to love this.
It's like the
gotta
one
be
thing
great.
I'm good at that everyone else is bad at. So I
you-
need to
you
know
wanna-
who's bad.
you wanna step on someone else's shoulders?
If we did like a free throw contest, I would be dead
I mean,
last.
in terms of
Do you think
bad-
anybody would be hurt by the revelation that they're
no,
the worst
because
of
I would
the singers?
No, especially if it should come as no surprise. You've heard Stugotz sing, but
Memories of a place in my childhood.
there are plenty of great songs in musical theater that are sung by subpar singers, or not classic, beautiful voices.
All of Roxy Hart in Chicago.
You don't have to have a wonderful voice to be a really effective singer in a musical, and you'll find that out with Stugotz's number. But in terms of pitch, Stugotz was all over the place. It was really difficult. It was really difficult to make it work. But so we had to alter it a little bit.
You mentioned, Jessica, speak through my people. For some reason, a tweeter is asking through Billy for an explanation for Mike. And he writes, "Hey, Bill, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm a little concerned Mike went into hiding after the invasion. He did the Chelsea podcast, so he probably knows Abramovich, who is practically Putin's best friend. Mike was acting weird before he disappeared, almost Trumpy. Just wondering. So he's asking Billy.
Someone send this to me.
for an
Wants Billy to
explanation.
comment
What am I
on
supposed to
Mike?
say about this?
Not Billy Corbin.
Mike is now back, so I guess it's okay.
No, I'd like to hear Billy explain it.
I too would like to hear Billy explain it.
What am I answering? What did the person ask?
Was Mike gone last week because he's practically Abramovich's and Putin's best friend? And after the invasion, Mike took last week off because I guess he was abducted or something?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Clears it up.
Mike,
I'm actually a double right now.
we did not talk about enough, though.
Like how there were like 7 Saddams.
Were there 7? Put it on the poll, Guillermo.
And allegedly 14 different Melanias.
Was a storyline in Arrested Development.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. Were there 14 Melanias and 7 Saddams? But
What an odd
I
poll
did want to
question.
talk more.
I am actually BJ Novak of The Office.
We have. I appreciate you mentioning The Office because I was laughed. I asked Mike Sure, he still hasn't told me whether this is so, but in the Peacock Agreement, you guys, I don't know if you guys saw this, the Peacock Agreement, the thing that you have to, nobody reads it, and you have to say, I agree on, is the recipe for Kevin's famous chili. Like it's between all the other serious stuff. It's just in the stupid
That's
agreement.
incredible.
That's an actual thing. But getting back to the Chelsea story, though, Mike, I believe we've got unusual expertise here. I know not on Russia, Ukraine, obviously, but Whittingham and Mike, American employees, they were for Chelsea, this club, and I'm sure
The
you guys
agency that represented Chelsea, but yeah.
I'm sure you could give us some insight. You left that podcast. You wanted to do a podcast without any disparagement. You wanted to do a podcast that was a little bit freer, and they didn't meet your terms. But you had a successful in America. It was the most successful coverage of Chelsea that there was in this country.
Yeah, thank you. And I still am in the dark a lot about Roman Abramovich. A lot of people are. I visited Chelsea grounds while Roman Abramovich was barred from living in the UK. I don't know the lengths of his relationship. We are all learning together exactly how influential he is. Hopefully, he is an influential force for peace right now. I do know that Roman Abramovich cares about Chelsea Football Club very deeply. So while he might be protecting his own assets from government seizure, I don't even know that to be certain. I don't know what the UK government can do with regards to Chelsea, but I do know that he loves Chelsea Football Club, and I do believe him when he says this is in the best interest of the club. It may be in his own best interest too.
What's the most credible reporting on some of this stuff? Because as Jessica mentioned, it can be hard. I heard you and Whittingham talking, and you're saying the source on this is a Ukrainian filmmaker, and I asked you whether it was Sean Penn, because Sean Penn is finding him. He's on the ground in the Ukraine. Sean Penn was in a boat after Katrina in New Orleans. Sean Penn might be nuts, but he's living a big ass life, man.
A dangerous life, it appears.
That too. Yeah. He's doing a documentary. Sean Penn is evidently on the ground in Ukraine.
So Roman Abramovich's statements don't mention Ukraine. They don't mention Vladimir Putin. The fact that he came out with a statement and announced that he was putting control of the club under the stewardship of the charitable foundation kind of made my heart sink a little bit, because that was the biggest confirmation that there's something to all the whispers surrounding Roman Abramovich and ties to Putin, as all oligarchs have some ties to Putin. And then I got even more concerned when the charitable foundation was like, what does this mean? And everyone's kind of freaked out right now because there is silence. And there was a display for peace, a pro-Ukraine display by Chelsea supporters, and a public call for peace by Chelsea. But now you're finding out from credible reports in Ukrainian media and Israeli, Roman Abramovich has residency in Israel as well. So Israel and Ukrainian news agencies have started reporting on Roman Abramovich being out there. Roman Abramovich put out a statement confirming this. He didn't mention the Belarus stuff. Other agencies have reported that he is actually in Belarus right now as the lone oligarch that has responded to Ukrainian government officials to try to broker peace. And that's all we know right now. We don't know if Roman Abramovich is a good guy or bad guy. I don't know anything.
That is legitimate Russian intrigue. You don't get very much of that, Stugotz, with your sports coverage.
Woody, this is a very difficult thing to talk about, but trying to draw a conclusion about the moralities of Roman Abramovich has been something that all of world football journalism has been trying to do for 20 years, and yet we still have way more questions than answers. And I'm genuinely asking, is Roman Abramovich a good guy? A bad guy? Somewhere in between?
And the amazing thing is that there was actually a book that wrote about Russian oligarchs, and there was a section on it about Roman Abramovich. And the libel laws in the UK are a lot easier to prove in the court of law than they are here. And HarperCollins actually had to retract a section about Roman Abramovich's connection to Putin because he so vigorously defended his name and won. And so they had to retract a section of the book about him. We know nothing about this guy, who honestly might be one of the most important owners in sports,
Well,
like in the history of sports.
Certainly if he's brokering peace now.
I would argue right now Roman Abramovich appears to be one of the most important people on the planet.
Well, I mean, like I'm separating like what he's attempting to do now, or the reports about what he's attempting to do now, and we'll see what ends up. I mean, like in the context of sports, I don't think there might be a more important rich person who has changed the paradigm on a more global level than Roman Abramovich buying Chelsea, pumping a bunch of money into it, because that model has been followed by basically all of the biggest clubs in the world now. All the biggest clubs in the world now have Roman Abramovich to thank for offering the model on how to build a giant global business in sports.
You also don't have to like repeat the seemingly public relations-y things being put out about him that haven't been independently verified. Like, I'm finding very little information from American media about his whereabouts and what he's doing. So
I have found very little in the ways of American media on Roman Abramovich forever.
Oh, well, any media,
Well,
really.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, it's nice
Yeah.
that you're trying to
I
make sure.
appreciate
Yeah.
the other.
No, but she. I think it's
that doesn't mean that
It's
you favor-
it's a wire service report, right? So it's not like some guy. It's PA is a wire service that's based in the UK. Like that's not nothing. But the headline is Abramovich's spokesperson is saying this, right? So there can be some doubt about what the reporting is there. It's a wire service putting its reputation, though. So like I'm willing to give it a go.
You can report that a spokesperson says something.
Yes.
But that's not saying that doesn't mean that the report is true. You're reporting that someone said something.
But even coming out, all right, let's say we just want to take that statement at face value. That's coming from Roman Abramovich. This is self-serving for Roman Abramovich, to which I say, no, it's not. There is a reason why no other Russian oligarchs have come out publicly and oppose Vladimir Putin. It's scary to do so. It is a life and death matter, it would appear. So for Roman Abramovich to come out with a statement to confirm that he is working towards peace would be open defiance of Vladimir Putin's wishes.
Jessica, you're making faces throughout this, though, and I think you're being reasonable in wondering, more so than ever, right? Given Russian hacking, given misinformation, given the credibility of so many news outlets under attack in this country from a president who did great damage to what's true and what's not true, and still contests an election and is tied up in a bunch of Russian mess. I think it's fair for Jessica to wonder about the facts here. And you're talking about a man who is mysterious and has very few facts about him, even under the best of circumstances, but certainly during a sensitive time. This does favor Abramovich to look like someone who's trying to broker peace. But I don't know if he's actually trying to broker peace or grandstanding or a Russian oligarch who is the worst of the Russian oligarchs. But neither do you, Jessica. And it's one of the reasons.
Which is why I'm not saying shit. And you can talk to my spokesperson if you want to comment on that.
I will say Roman Abramovich doesn't do much in the way of grandstanding. He is mysterious for several reasons. He does not put himself out there, even in his own statement, which we've added to it through the reporting of these news agencies out there. It was very vague. I, in my heart of hearts, genuinely want to believe the owner of a football club that I love, that I worked with, isn't this monster. I have no idea if he is a good or bad guy. I don't know what the origins of his deal-making was when he became an oligarch 20 years ago, what Putin said to him then, what his relationship is with him right now. I'm made to feel bad over the weekend because I support Chelsea, because there are all sorts of questions revolving its owner. I am biased. I don't want to believe this person is a monster. But I'm reading these reports, and it seems as though, regardless of the moralities that one can project to him, and people seem to be very convinced on many sides about Roman Abramovich without much meat actually being there, he seems pretty freaking important right now.
Well, here's what we do know. He is the titan of an industry in Russia. That's generally you gotta do something in order to be in that position. And what we also know is that he's not allowed in the country in which he owns one of its biggest institutions. Never mind sporting institutions. Chelsea Football Club. He's not allowed in the country. And he goes to all the games that are played in other countries. He meets them in the UAE for the Club World Cup. He meets them in Portugal for the Champions League final. He's not allowed in the United Kingdom. And that casts real doubt over who this character is, which side is he on. If the UK government was to try and target him, what would happen to that very institution? This is not someone with a clean reputation.
But it's been that way for years.
Correct.
That he hasn't been able to be in the country for years, and Chelsea Football Club has never been seized. He's allowed to continue the operations and own it, and by all accounts, just in terms of sport, seems to be one of the better owners in the history of professional sports, and you can't question his passion for the club. But when you start putting sanction insurance against a club to the point that you leverage a debt against a club that the club would owe Roman Abramovich that he owns, I don't even understand that portion of it. How the football club could owe Roman Abramovich money.
Right. How is that allowed to happen? But so his banning from the UK happened. Do you remember it was 4 years ago when there was a killing of a couple of ex-Russian spies with a nerve agent in the UK where they touched a door handle and just died?
What an incredible sentence.
Yeah. And so a month later, there were several big Russian figures that were banned so he hasn't been in Russia in the UK for about 4 years.
Stugotz, why have you been laughing? I find all of this fascinating. I'm assuming that the audience does too. I hope so, because we are in the middle of a world crisis, and this again is somehow sports coming to the world and the world coming to sports, because they're all inextricably linked. And in the middle of all of it, you've got the Klitschko brothers, Stugotz. One of them's a mayor. They're joining the reserve army, and they're leading these gritty, rough people as a white nation. I mean, because history can repeat itself, as a white nation that, many years ago, somebody craving white nation power also had some support in the United States. But the world is bucking on what it is Putin is doing. It's a sensitive time and an amazing time, and you're over here laughing because?
I'm laughing at the idea that Sean Penn, of all people, has boots on the ground in Ukrainia.
It is funny.
I mean, why?
It is.
Jeff Spicoli.
It is.
It's Ukraine. That's a fine.
Oh, sorry. I mean, but why is Sean Penn there?
Ukrainia?
You wait a minute. You own $5.
Ukraine.
That's
I mean,
got no wait. That's got to be $5.
What's going on?
Hey, I'm sorry. I got $5. I'll pay the fine. But why is Sean Penn there?
You can't do better than that.
Should be more than $5.
Should it be?
$50
Wait,
for calling it Ukrainian.
$50.
What is the fining system? Ukrainian.
It has to be more than $5.
That's unbelievable.
But why is Sean Penn there?
Stugotz, fair enough. And you're right. It's a good question. But you can't, no matter how much kitty litter you want to spray in everyone's face, you can't call it Ukraine. It's unbelievable. You can't write this in fiction. You can't try and enter this discussion, this serious discussion about world peace with Ukraine.
You're right.
And I do believe, I don't know what the fine should be for that.
Well, I put it in fine. That's the fine. I control the fine system around here.
Billy, what do you think the fine should be for Ukraine?
Be nice, Billy.
$3.50.
What? $3.50?
Yeah.
All right, someone owes me $1.50. How about that?
You made a good deal. Congratulations on that.
Why is Sean Penn there?
I mean, he goes to interesting places and wants to give another perspective, and he's also he's got some unusual political leanings and might be in a Mel Gibson class of out there. Do I have that about right on Jeff Spicoli?
Ask my spokesperson.
Nobody's got any opinions here?
I'll follow you, Dan. I don't like Sean Penn.
Oh,
I just don't know enough. I don't actually know what his...
No, I know plenty about Sean Penn. I don't like him.
Okay. That's where we're leaving it?
You don't like him?
Like he palled around with Chavez. He's a communist sympathizer. Believes horrible things. Is an abuser of women. He's an awful person. So, if you wanted clarity on where I stood with Sean Penn, I think he's a fucking asshole.
But why is he in Ukrainia?
It's a good question, Dan. That's what I've been asking the entire time.
To the point that if I read that story and I was like, what side is he on?
we all know.
Because of what we know about Sean Penn and his leanings.
I wanted to ask Stugotz because it's taken us way too long to get here, Stugotz. We have gotten a whole lot of people who are demanding for your thoughts on what is happening with Art Briles, who is now the Grambling State offensive coordinator. We have gotten a lot of good tweets. If you've seen the pictures of Art Briles, please tell me, people, that you have seen these pictures, because some people are writing in that he looks like he shares a cell with Mac's dad in Always Sunny. You have to look at what he looks like. Somebody else writes in on Twitter, Art Briles looks like a guy given 3 days to live, and he's on day 43. He's got Baby Billy's hair from the Righteous Gemstones. I don't know what that white hair, Stugotz.
Love Baby Billy.
Do you?
I do love Baby Billy. Hugh Jackson just put out a statement moments ago about the hiring of Art Briles. I will read a couple excerpts. The Hugh Jackson Foundation has been dedicated to fighting against all forms of sexual abuse and exploitation, as well as other forms of racial and social bias. We have clear understanding of the role that coaches and others who have positions of trust play in the lives of those they meet. We also know and understand the process of identifying risks, helping others to heal, and the importance of prevention. We believe that through the hiring of Coach Briles and the well-developed programs we have in place, this hire will be instrumental in teaching others the importance of knowing how to prevent victimization, proper reporting procedures, provide adequate resources to individuals who have been victimized, and develop strong law enforcement partnerships with the community. The recent hire of Coach Briles is a testament to the importance of these key factors: forgiveness, redemption, enlightenment. As we move forward together with Coach Briles, we ask that people keep in mind that no matter your views on this topic, please remember that people can and often do become re-traumatized and re-victimized by statements which may or may not be accurate. We will continue to support Coach Briles and all victims of assault, violence, social and racial injustice, and we continue to provide equal opportunity and healing for everyone.
It's complete nonsense, Dan. I mean, the fact that Grambling State and Hugh Jackson is put in this position of power, and what he does with it is sign an offensive coordinator, and Art Briles, who sat on so many alleged sexual assault cases at his time at Baylor University, literally did nothing. One after another, fell onto his desk. And what did he do? He stayed silent. And why did he do it? Because his football team was more important to him than what happened to those women. It is absolutely amazing that Grambling State hired him as offensive coordinator, and Hugh Jackson. Winning cannot be that important to Grambling State and Hugh Jackson, where you would hire this man, of all the coaches out there, of all the choices you've had, that you would hire this man and put him in charge of your offense because winning is that important to you. It can't be that important. Like, Dan, this has to go away. I know there's a committee that votes on this, and perhaps that committee at Grambling State will vote against having Art Briles as being part of their university, because Art Briles has no business being a part of any university, any football team, football in general. Art Briles, the only place that Art Briles should have a job and reside is in hell.
All right, there we go.
I know, Dan, I'm serious.
Okay.
Like, what is Hugh Jackson thinking?
Well, I think this is Hugh Jackson and Art Briles trying to get back in the game. And Art Briles
Hugh Jackson is back in the game. He doesn't need Art Briles to get back in the game. Dan, he's back in the game. He's a head coach at Grambling State.
Come on, Stugotz. That's not back in the game.
This is real winning with Art Briles?
Stugotz?
At the expense of what?
Stugotz, do not put me in the position where I am arguing on behalf of
I did that.
Art
I'm sorry.
Briles.
Yeah.
You said something. You asked a question about Grambling State, and the answer to your question is winning is that important to Hugh Jackson, who needs offense. Art Briles is great at offense, and this is Art Briles and Hugh Jackson trying to get back into the game. And that they shouldn't be allowed to do so is something that you're expressing very well, and you speak for a lot of people, and Jessica as well. This doesn't seem like something that should be happening. I'm just explaining to you why it is happening. It seems to me that Hugh Jackson needs Art Briles because Art Briles does have a unique skill set when it comes to coaching offense, and so Hugh Jackson wants to get a better job.
I understand that.
And Art Briles wants to get a better job. This isn't about anybody. It's not about inclusion. It's not about understanding. It's not about forgiveness. It's not about second chances, unless the second chances are for Hugh Jackson and Art Briles.
But he can't get there without Art Briles. That's the only person that can get Hugh Jackson where Hugh Jackson wants to go. Art Briles. That seems ridiculous.
It's going to be hard to get an offensive coordinator at Grambling State who's as good as Art Briles. Yes, that would be hard to do.
Dan, that is totally fair. I would say nearly impossible to get someone as good as an offensive coordinator as Art Briles is to Grambling State.
You asked me why are they doing this, and I answered your question. Like I don't want to be on. Please don't put me on the other side of this. Like I am with you. Everything you said.
I'm just upset by it.
Everything you said is correct. But you asked me why is Hugh Jackson doing this
to win? Yeah,
and that's it. And at its most cutthroat, that's what you're watching every time you watch sports. Like that's. The business of it's ugly, and it tramples others. It happens all the time. And so now Hugh Jackson is trying to save Art Briles' job here because the attention that's been brought on Grambling State here suggests, your institution is one that compromises for the wrong thing.
It's winning at all costs. I understand that, and that's what he's trying to do. But where is so he's the football coach. Where are the people above him at Grambling State saying, no, this is wrong. You cannot hire this person. We will fire you if you hire this person. This person has no business being in charge of 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, has no business. Where is that person? Where is the leadership at that university?
They also announced the hire the day of a massive international news story, which was Russia invading Ukraine. The timing of that was interesting. I just wonder if Art Briles is really this coaching savant that it's worth putting your reputation if you're Hugh Jackson.
Well, someone thinks he is
on the line.
Well, Hugh Jackson thinks he is.
There's probably other people you can hire. So all this really says is that we don't care. We are gonna say bullshit about forgiveness and redemption. We're gonna get a guy who we want to be our football coach, and if you talk about it, you're actually the ones who are re-traumatizing victims. Because if you talk about what happened at Baylor, you're the one bringing up painful things from other people's past. Not us for putting Art Briles back into the news cycle and giving him a job where he is going to be coaching teenagers, 18 to 22-year-olds. You are for talking about all those things that happened 5 years ago.
And so how, because this is a shitty position for me. It legitimately is. Because
Dan, your point is understandable. Where Hugh Jackson is saying this is the best candidate he can get to come to Grambling State and help him win and win big.
It's not just that, Stugotz. It's that people who know a lot more than I do about this speak of Art Briles as the reason RG3 existed.
Correct.
And I don't know how to do that. I don't know what would make Art Briles better at this thing, but this is the only portal. He's got to start at the bottom, a coordinator job, and it's got to be with this shame, and it's got to be with the heat of this now surrounding Grambling State, where Hugh Jackson has to put out that, which is a defense, not unlike the one Urban Meyer had to put out on his racist strength coach when he tried to hire him. And I don't know if Grambling State can withstand it. Because the pressure, you're talking about the people above them. Where are they? The pressure is going to come from outside of that university because I don't know if the leaders.
It's already started. It started with Doug Williams.
I don't know if the leaders know what they invited onto campus.
But how could they not know, Dan? How do they not do their research? I mean,
Stugotz, I don't know if you hire Hugh Jackson, you let him hire his people. I don't know the answer to your question.
You let him hire his people until one of those people is Art Briles, and then you stop and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" Right?
Well, that's what's going to happen here, is it not? I don't believe Art Briles will keep that job. I did want to talk about what Art Briles looks like because he's doing the Greg Williams move of trying to do this in costume. He's trying to look like a different person. He does not look like the same human being who was coaching at Baylor. You look at it and you tell me whether that's the same person, because I think he's doing the Greg Williams move. Maybe life has been so hard to Art Briles to endure that it's been really rough on him. I don't know.
That's not Art Briles.
But he does not look like the Art Briles. If that dude sat next to me, I would never say that is Art Briles.
He sits next to you and someone says, hey, you have 100 guesses. Guess who that is?
That looks like a costume to me of someone trying to not resemble Art Briles. Am I wrong about this?
No, you're
Mike,
100%
did you
right.
have this reaction to
He looks like Mac's dad, yeah. Last few years have been rough on Art Briles. Good.
But now he's back. Like, it's going to lead to a head coaching job at a major college, Mike. That's how the rehab tour. Dan, that's how it works.
No, Stugotz. This dies.
You don't think he's going to? You think this dies now? Like it's going to die before he even gets to Grambling State?
I don't think that Art Briles will be clean enough to actually succeed in doing what he's attempting to do here. No, I believe that this is as high as it will climb.
I have to clean up some of the stuff that I said about Sean Penn. Not the part where I called him an effing asshole. I maintain that. But he is a very litigious person. So I should note that both Madonna and Sean Penn denied the vicious details surrounding her apparent beating and alleged kidnapping. But he was never fully charged and convicted of those crimes. And so he's like sued Lee Daniels for $10 million in defense of him, saying I'm not an abuser. But the details around the incident, Google it, between Sean Penn and Madonna, it's horrific.
One of those things where I truly have no idea what you're talking about, but I will Google it.
A lot of people don't. It was just a very nasty incident between Madonna and Sean Penn that allegedly happened.
So is that an apology? Or?
Well, I just have to make it known so he doesn't sue me that charges were dropped. Madonna in 89, asked for charges to be dropped.
I'm going to go read about Sean Penn's politics because I don't know. I thought that's what you were coming into.
No. His politics. No, he loved Hugo Chavez.
I don't. I'm going to have to read.
F that guy. No. Like,
but I'm still.
Why is he there?
Again, it's Jeff Spicoli.
Here's. This is beyond parody. Sean Penn.
You're telling me that Jeff Spicoli is a communist, and I don't. He might be a communist, and that's not even the part you're apologizing for. I need to.
No, I'm not apologizing for anything. I'm just. I have to do a service and let it be known that charges were dropped against Sean Penn. But we've seen that happen a lot of times, especially back then. It's an ugly incident. But here's what he believes about Hugo Chavez after mourning his death. He also said, journalists who call Hugo, this is a parody. This feels like a parody. Journalists who call Hugo Chavez a dictator should be jailed. As a dictator would do.
That seems like a parody, which brings me to how I almost, and now I've got some reflex on this that is uncomfortable, but now I am double and triple checking things that are said because I don't want to again be fooled by ballsack sports.
Mm-hmm.
But Charles Oakley saying that Giannis would have come off the bench during his era sounds like fiction. I know I got fooled. I know that I got fooled by Josh Smith not saying to Ballsack Sports that LeBron couldn't have played during his era. But Charles Oakley saying that Giannis would have come off the bench during his time, that's batshit crazy. I have to check things 3 and 4 times now to make sure that I'm not being fooled by Ballsack Sports.
We have audio.
I was skeptical because, couldn't make a jump shot free throw, but after what he did last year, he won me over. I was, because I know he wouldn't have been a force back in the days.
Would or would not?
He wouldn't have been a force.
Why is that?
He would have struggled because they would make him 2 jump shots, and he wasn't be doing no Europe to the basket like he doing. You'll step to the basket and just get layup. No, somebody gonna knock his head off. I mean, I'm glad he's doing what he's doing now, but he definitely wouldn't. He wouldn't come on the bench back in the days.
That's from No Pump Fakes.
I mean, Charles Smith started for the Knicks.
Did you guys enjoy what happened last night to LeBron? He was getting booed in Los Angeles, Stugotz. I laughed out loud, and people think I'm anti-LeBron. I am so grateful for LeBron, not just in Miami, but just for content purposes over the last 10 years. But what was funny, DeAndre Jordan, I learned last night that he was with the Lakers. That's my fault. And I learned it when he started dribbling, like the game passed him by very quickly. You remember when the Clippers were locking doors to keep DeAndre Jordan from leaving their franchise? DeAndre Jordan yesterday started dribbling up the court. Oh, Chris Whittingham is holding his well-oiled hair because I just reminded him that the Clippers were fighting over, was it the Mavericks for DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, it was the Mavericks. They hold him up. I was holding my hands more at the play you're about to describe. I saw this very much a low light of this guy who, by the way, I believe the Brooklyn Nets gave up Jared Allen, eventual All-Star, because KD and Kyrie were insistent upon not only having DeAndre Jordan on their team, but him starting.
Yeah.
Like, this guy must be the best friend to NBA stars because he has sunk multiple NBA franchises with their insistence upon having DeAndre Jordan around, and he threw a pass into like row Z at the Crypto.com arena.
Put it on the poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Must DeAndre Jordan be the best of friends? Because that play, what happened there was so funny because he was dribbling and should not be, ever. And he was being chased from behind because he was leaving his basket. And he got scared, and his outlet pass was about 20 rows deep. And LeBron got booed as Rich Paul is meeting with management. And they say all the right things about, oh, we're not pressing the buttons, we're not in charge here. And saying all nice things now because this is how the end looks in Los Angeles, where he's just trying to clean up all the things he said at the All-Star game. They've been running that franchise. They don't want to be blamed for running it right into the ground.
Right. But they ran it right into the ground. I mean, that's what they did. And everyone knows that. I mean, no one's dumb enough to think that it was anyone other than LeBron.
But Rich Paul is meeting with the Lakers management, and the tone on all the things, flirting with Presti, doors not closed in Cleveland. Now LeBron's saying all of a sudden, no, I plan on playing the end of my career here. But he's not guaranteed to get that 2-year, $100 million extension anymore. And Cleveland is reportedly not that interested in having him back. And now you run the risk of LeBron James being traded. Oh boy. Because he's got value. Like if I'm a bad franchise, I wouldn't mind having a year of LeBron.
Well, I think he said he supports Jeannie Buss and he supports Kurt Rambis, but he left out Rob Pelinka. Like, he clearly wants Sam Presti to be the GM of the Lakers.
But LeBron is not guaranteed to play where he wants at the end here. There's the possibility. The Lakers, Bill Plaschke is writing, trade him.
Well, I think he has a no trade, so he would have to approve any trade. Basketball Illuminati did a real good thing on LeBron and him playing for a team when Bronny is eligible for the draft. Right now, there isn't a high school pipeline direct to the NBA just yet. And Basketball Illuminati threw out the theory that that'll be allowed when LeBron is an impending free agent, so he can legitimately call his shot and go to whichever team drafts Bronny.
And before then, is he going to have a miserable year in Los Angeles wrestling over the no trade? If that's the only value the Lakers have, the Lakers don't have any other value. It's not just.
It would have to be mutually beneficial because he has a fair amount of power and say as to where he goes.
But he's saying now out loud, he's putting his name on, I don't push the buttons around here. Like, they are distancing themselves from the stink. He's now putting his name on, well, this isn't my fault. I didn't do this.
It's Pelinka's.
And the Lakers are starting to protect themselves in that, no, we're not going to give up future assets.
They're booing him. They were down 20 yesterday to the Pelicans at home. I
mean, he deserves to be booed, Dan. He put together a horrible team, a horrific team. He did with Carmelo Anthony.
Are you done now, though? Because I've been telling you they're done, and you're like, wait till the playoffs. Are you switching? Because the horrific team you still feared in the playoffs.
No, I said Anthony Davis has to be healthy. If Anthony Davis is healthy, I still maintain the Lakers will make a run in the Western Conference.
Play-in tournament. I'll run in their play-in tournament.
They'll win it. Then they'll play a best of 7, and they have LeBron and Anthony Davis, and they'll win that.
You forgot that you were supporters of this mess.
I did.
You forgot that a week ago that you were still fearing the Lakers thumping everyone in the West.
But you never forget.
Elephants never do.